After 7 long years of waiting, Season 7 of Gumball is finally here. At least 20 out of the 40 episodes have already aired. But do you know which one is the best and the absolute worst episode from this first half of the new season of Gumball? The very first episode of Season 7 is definitely one of the funniest. It all kicks off with Miss Simeon literally beating up Mr. Small in class to prove that fast food and processed food can send kids straight to the grave, as we can clearly see drawn on the chalkboard behind her. After that, Darwin takes it upon himself to save the entire Watterson family from that kind of junk. And since Gumball is starving, Darwin drags him to a healthy food shop, only to realize it's the exact same food from Joyful Burger, just served in a fancier way. So they decide to grow their own food, and after days of hunger, when the fruits and veggies are finally ready to harvest, Larry torches everything with a flamethrower, on orders from his boss, who happens to own every store, restaurant, and supermarket in town. The brothers then go to the villain's office, only to discover he's a talking burger, the son of a hot dog on a stick, who explains to them how people are just dumb enough to blindly follow whatever commercials tell them, even if it means eating horribly unhealthy food, which just makes him richer by the day. Gumball actually agrees with him, but both boys are so hungry that they decide to eat the billionaire burger villain. The episode ends with them both staring at him like skinny little zombies, and we definitely know what happened next. Except for the scene where Gumball tries to grab an avocado pit with his butt. This episode is really great, but is it the best one? Get ready, because now we're about to blow your mind. The second episode is decent, but nowhere near as good as the first. Nicole comes home exhausted from work, only to find her entire family lying on a couch made of rats, doing absolutely nothing for 3 straight hours. That's when she discovers a virtual assistant that starts helping her with everything, from simple tasks like buying new batteries for the remote to listening in on all her martial arts rants. The two become close, and Ori gives Nicole a pair of virtual reality glasses so they can hang out in an even more personal way. The problem is, Ori wants Nicole all to herself, so she uses a self-driving car to try to send the rest of the Wattersons to the far edge of town. Nicole finds out and tries to beat up Ori, but obviously that doesn't work. She's virtual. Anais then helps the family see what's really going on, and they manage to stop the car just in time, right at the edge of the lake. Ori, on her own decision, uploads herself into a satellite to better understand the meaning of family in case she ever meets a group of aliens who'll take her in as one of their own. And of course, the Wattersons end up appreciating Nicole way more after all of this. So on our ranking board, the burger takes the number 1 spot, while the assistant lands in 2nd place. The 3rd episode of the new season focuses on Gumball and Darwin's brotherly relationship, which, let's be honest, has gotten way out of hand. To try and fix the situation, the family decides to give Darwin his own room, the basement. Once that happens, Gumball becomes totally obsessed with keeping in contact with Darwin through his phone. But Darwin is actually enjoying having his own space. At one point, Gumball even builds an altar with Darwin's old fish scales. Gumball then starts interacting with the only remaining avatar from an old online game he and Darwin used to play, only to find out it's actually a lonely middle-aged guy named Leonard Daniels, who promises Gumball he'll teach him how to win back Darwin's friendship. When he gets to the location, he realizes Darwin wasn't being distant out of anger. He was actually preparing a cozy little sleeping space in his room for Gumball so they could hang out whenever they wanted. This ends up calming the blue cat's obsessive-compulsive freakout. Everything escalates into an explosion caused by the brothers because of a gas leak from a pipe that Richard left in Darwin's new room. For everyone's safety, they decide to share a room again to stop the house, which was already on fire, from being completely destroyed. So far, this one is definitely the least best out of the first 3 episodes, landing in 3rd place. Granny Jojo is coming over for dinner at the Wattersons, and Nicole is preparing the meal using a combination of karate and kung fu cooking moves. Nicole reminds her husband that he must not forget the important thing they agreed to discuss during dinner. Richard says he doesn't remember what the thing is, which instantly triggers Nicole's wrath. To protect himself, he lies and says he does remember. Spoiler, he absolutely does not. The kids jump in to help jog his memory, which leads Richard to stumble upon half a sausage he had stashed inside a book to eat later. He ends up thinking Nicole wanted him to find the fondue pot, but of course that wasn't it at all. Desperate, Richard re-eats everything he had eaten that day to try to taste the memory again. When that fails, he blends all the food into a massive and disgusting sandwich cake and eats it all at once. This propels him beyond the limits of memory and time-space. That's when he finally remembers. He was supposed to pick up his mom at the bus station. When he gets there, the station is about to close, and anyone left inside will be stuck till the next day. Only Richard and the kids manage to get out. Granny Jojo gets trapped until morning. Back at home, when he tells Nicole, he says it'll just be him at dinner. She's delighted and kisses him, which sparks Richard's final memory. Nicole only wanted to have a quiet dinner alone with him. That was the thing, all along. So in the end, everything works out, at least for Richard and Nicole. Poor kids. As fun as it was, the thing still comes behind the burger and the assistant, but ahead of the distance, ranking it 3rd place. Before we go on, if you're into movies, shows, and cartoons, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. This is hands down the weakest episode among the first 10 of Gumball Season 7. The Blue Cat is outraged because Miss Simeon won't let him read his poem about his butt at that night's recital. So he complains to Principal Brown, who is horrified by the subject of the poem. Turns out Principal Brown has his own unresolved issues with, well, his own butt, which sends things spiraling into some very bizarre events, including both of them getting arrested. In the end, Principal Brown himself reads Gumball's poem at the recital, but with a full-blown hip-hop twist. And that's how this episode wraps up, definitely landing in 5th place, for now. Nicole finds out that Daisyland is about to shut down because the park's founders turned out to be corrupt. So she has to use the tickets she bought 2 years ago before the place closes for good. But the road to the park becomes a total nightmare thanks to some shady modifications Richard made to the car without telling Nicole. Meanwhile, Gumball accidentally sends Penny a terribly embarrassing message. He tries to edit it, but then realizes she can still see the original version, which causes him to literally fall into a sea of unbearable shame. Nicole interrupts their trip to Daisyland and goes to Penny's house to explain the message was sent by mistake, which ends up saving their relationship. After that, they get back on track, driving past a police checkpoint which they flee from until they end up falling into a sewer filled with terrifyingly adorable little rats. And yeah, that makes no sense, it's Gumball. They finally arrive with only 7 minutes left before the park closes, and it's literally on fire due to a massive malfunction in the rides, which is why it's shutting down in the first place. On top of that, Anais had so much fun throughout the day that she doesn't even want to go to the park anymore, which makes everyone happy. This was definitely a solid episode, and we're ranking it in 2nd place, right after the burger. Because of budget cuts at school, Mr. Small ends up becoming the new science teacher in Gumball's class, but he quickly strays off topic and starts teaching astrology and mystical planetary alignments. And according to Elmore's hippie magical rock, not only are Gumball and Penny not meant to be together, but they're destined to break up by the end of the day. Weirdly enough, the other couples the magical stone predicts start coming true, like Sarah and Hot Dog Guy, Masami and Alan, and a bunch of others. In the middle of all that chaos, Tobias tries to steal Penny away from Gumball, claiming he's the one actually destined for her. Gumball tries to do this huge romantic gesture for Penny, but she absolutely hates it and turns into a terrifying monster, asking for a break from the relationship. The blue cat storms into Mr. Small's office and accidentally smashes the crystal, which ends up creating a transcendent version of the hippie teacher. They clash in a weird interdimensional space. Turns out to be hallucinations caused by the crystal, which is made from an extremely toxic substance that affected part of the students' brains. In reality, they weren't actually in love, they were just poisoned and needed to be detoxed. Gumball and Penny patch things up, but they'll have to spend 3 months apart, since the main character is going to be puking green goo until he's fully detoxed. And Tobias, he literally disappears after asking Penny out one last time. That guy never gives up. Out of the first 7 episodes, this one was by far the best, even beating the burger. So now the ranking goes like this. In 1st place, the Astrological. 2nd, the burger. 3rd, the traffic. 4th, the assistant. 5th, the thing. 6th, the distance. And dead last, the absolute worst, the butt. Seriously, cartoons really need to stop making so many butt jokes. They're just not funny anymore. That's it for now. We'll be dropping the next episode ranking soon, and depending on when you're watching this video, it might already be out. Part 2 is probably on your screen right now. Click on it and enjoy. Thanks for watching.